All right, let me ask you something. Have you ever just stopped and wondered if the world you can see and touch is really all there is? Today, we're digging into the ideas of a philosopher from almost 1,000 years ago, whose answer might just flip your entire perception of reality on its head. Let's get into it. I mean, really think about it. Just look around you for a second. Everything you see, your screen, the room you're in, the sky outside, it all feels so solid, so real. But what if? What if that's not the whole picture? What if it's not even the most real part of the story?
Well, believe it or not, way back in the 11th century, this brilliant Persian thinker, a poet and philosopher, offered up a pretty radical answer to that exact question. His name was Nasir Khosrow, and his philosophy gives us this absolutely stunning vision of what our existence is all about.
See, Nasir Khosrow's entire way of seeing the universe, it all boils down to one core idea. Reality isn't just one single thing. Nope. He argued that it's actually split into two totally distinct, yet somehow interconnected worlds.
That's right. For him, it's like our life is a story that's playing out across two different realities at the exact same time. There's the one we experience with our senses, and then there's this other one that we can only even begin to grasp with our minds. So let's break that down, starting with the world we all think we know so well. So first up, we have what Khosrow called the natural world. This is the physical universe, right? The world of stuff, of matter, of time and space, and basically everything we see and touch and navigate every single day.
But here's the twist. Khosrow had a really unique take on this physical world. For him, this wasn't the be-all and end-all. He saw it as a place defined by its flaws, its limitations. It's full of conflict, a place where things are always changing, growing, and then, well, falling apart. He even called it dense and dark, which kind of suggests it's a lower, more chaotic version of reality.
Now, if this is starting to sound a little familiar, you're not wrong. This idea has a huge parallel in Western philosophy, Plato's allegory of the cave. You know the story. Prisoners in a cave see shadows on a wall and think that's all of reality. They have no idea about the real world outside that's creating those shadows. Khosrow is basically saying the same thing about our world. It looks real, but it's just a flickering, imperfect copy of something much, much truer.
Okay, so if the physical world is just a bunch of shadows, what's the fire casting them? Well, this brings us to Khosrow's second world, the intellectual world. This is the world of the soul, of pure, unfiltered intellect.
And this intellectual world is the complete polar opposite of the natural one. I mean, every characteristic is flipped on its head. Where one is physical and temporary, the other is spiritual and eternal. Where one is constantly changing and corrupting, the other is perfect, unchanging, and just luminous. It exists totally beyond space and time. It's the realm of pure truth.
Khosrow himself put it beautifully. He said this physical world, by its very nature, is dense and dark, and it's just not suited for something that's subtle and luminous. He's really driving home the point that these two worlds are made of fundamentally different stuff.
And right about now, you're probably thinking, okay, hold on a second. If these two worlds are total opposites, one is a huge physical thing and the other isn't physical at all, how on earth can they even be connected? How do they interact? This is the million-dollar question, right? It's the core puzzle in Khosrow's philosophy. It feels like a total contradiction. It's like asking how you can fit the entire Pacific Ocean inside a single memory. Physically, it makes no sense. But Khosrow's answer isn't physical at all. It's actually brilliant. He calls his solution scientific encompassment. Now that sounds pretty academic, but the idea is simple. Think about a blueprint for a skyscraper. That piece of paper doesn't physically contain the steel and glass, but it contains the complete idea of the building, right? Every single detail. In the same way, the intellectual world contains our universe, not like a box, but by knowing it completely and perfectly.
Let's just walk through his logic here, step by step. It's a really tight argument. 1. The universal intellect is perfect and knows everything. That's the starting point. 2. If it's all-knowing, then by definition, nothing can exist that it doesn't know about. 3. Our physical world exists, so it has to exist within that knowledge. And 4. If it existed outside of that knowledge, the intellect wouldn't be all-knowing, which is a contradiction. See? It's a neat philosophical proof.
Okay, so that's the big, cosmic, mind-bending picture. A physical world floating inside a world of pure thought. But so what? What does any of this have to do with us, with our daily lives? Well, this is where Khosrow's ideas get really personal.
For him, the entire purpose of being human, the whole point of our lives, is this epic journey of return. He says each of us has an individual soul, which is like a tiny spark from that huge, luminous reality. Our mission, our life's work, is to polish that soul and guide it back home to its source, the universal soul.
And how are we supposed to do that? Well, it starts by seeing the natural world for what it truly is: temporary, fleeting, and ultimately not the main event. He points to prophets and wise people throughout history who turned away from worldly things, and it wasn't because they were against joy, but because they understood that real, lasting fulfillment was somewhere else. They knew this world could be a distraction from the real journey.
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Your support really means a lot and helps me keep creating content for you all. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
This whole idea leads to some really powerful and frankly pretty urgent advice from Khosrow. He says we have to work on perfecting our soul right now, in this life. Why the rush? Because he believed that an incomplete soul, one that's still all tangled up in this dense physical world, is going to suffer. And not just here, but in the next world too. The work has to be done now.
You know, what's so fascinating about all this is that Nasir Khosrow wasn't just thinking this stuff up in a vacuum. He was plugging into a massive debate about the nature of reality that has been going on for centuries across continents. And his ideas echo, and sometimes clash with, some of the biggest names in Western thought.
For instance, Khosrow's world of intellect is uncannily similar to Plato's world of forms. For both of them, the real reality is this perfect, unchanging place beyond our senses. But they had different ideas about our role. For Plato, the goal is to remember it. For Khosrow, it's an ascent. And then you've got someone on the total other side of the spectrum, like Nietzsche. He thought this whole idea of a true world was a dangerous fiction, a lie we tell ourselves that devalues our actual physical lives. His goal was to completely overcome that idea.
So, when you look at it that way, Nasir Khosrow wasn't just some obscure historical figure. He was a major participant in one of the most fundamental quests humanity has ever been on, trying to figure out what is real. And his voice is a crucial part of that global, timeless conversation.
And that brings us to the final question I want to leave with you. If you just entertain Khosrow's idea for a moment, that our world is just a shadow of a more perfect, more luminous reality, what does that mean for how we live our lives right now? Does it mean we should just check out of this world? Or does it give us a new, deeper responsibility to each other and to this place? That's the challenge this philosophy leaves for us to think about.